So in this video, we're going to take a look at all the muscles of week 3. We're going to not start with the tensor valli palatini and the levator valli palatini. We'll see that in just a second. We're going to begin with the palatoglossus and then the styloglossus. So the palatoglossus is actually going to go from the palate here down to the tongue, as the name implies, palatoglossus. Okay. Now the palatoglossus is actually going to wrap around and make this fold, and the back part of this fold is going to come down, and it's called the palatopharyngeus. So if we take a look at this model here, we can see it a little bit easier. So we can see it here. Now, one thing to appreciate is that when the tissue is on this, it's actually called a fold. So the muscle is underneath, and I'll show you that at the end of the video. But here we can only see the fold. So on your test, if you write palatoglossus or the palatoglossal fold, that would be fine. There's that palatine tonsil, and then right through here, this line right here, that is the palatopharyngeus fold technically, and the muscle would be underneath, okay? So the next thing we have on our list is going to be that musculus uvula. The uvula itself, of course, that is this structure right through here, okay? The genioglossus is going to be this big muscle group through here. Now there's actually these transverse fibers, and then there's going to be these other fibers that run straight up and down, okay? Now on your list, you just need to identify this quarter as the genioglossus. The hyoglossus is going to be a quadrangular shaped muscle that we're going to see on the side of the tongue. So if we look at this model here, we can see this quadrangular shape here. That is the hyoglossus. The styloglossus and the palatopharyngeus, technically we're seeing them both right now. So here on the tongue, from the palate to the tongue itself, you have the palatoglossus, but these muscle fibers down here are part of the styloglossus. So let's see that from a different point of view. When we look at this model through here, we can actually see that styloid process, and if you remember, this was the stylohyoid muscle going down. On the top is the styloglossus, okay? So we don't see palatoglossus, we just see the styloglossus in this one through here. Now the next thing we want to do is look at our lab list and remember, or at least notice, that here hyoglossus, styloglossus, and then we see palatoglossus, which was a misprint, okay? So it's just on here twice. Now the next two, the salpingo-palatine and salpingo-pharyngeal muscles, are covered over by tissue, so technically we're going to see them as a fold, okay? So if we look on this model here, we're going to see that that's actually surrounding the eustachian tube, okay? And we saw that torus tuberous was part of the lymphatic tissue right through there. So this part of the tube right through here that comes down just like this is going to be the salpingo-palatine, okay? Because it's going down to the palate, right? And then this guy right through here is actually going to be part of the salpingo-pharyngeal fold. So you see how it goes all the way down through here? Okay. So it's salpingo-pharyngeal fold. Now underneath that is the muscle. Okay. Now we're also going to take a look at the constrictors in the lab, and you'll have to see that on a different, or in your lab or on the video itself, but you can actually see those constrictor muscles right through here. So these are the pharyngeal constrictor muscles, and they're kind of described as being a cup within a cup within a cup, because there's a superior, middle, and inferior pharyngeal constrictor muscle that we'll see. Now the last one we want to see was the tensor valli palatini and levator palatini. So I'm going to show you the ear model to show you the tensor valli palatini, and it is this muscle right here. It's got the number 21 on it. Okay, so that muscle actually is a portion of what's on the actual inner ear canal as it comes out through here. Okay, so it actually goes all the way in, and it's kind of lateral and behind here. When we can't really see it, it's associated with the hamulus of the pterygoid plate. Now the levator valli palatini is another muscle that's kind of challenging to see, but it technically is going to exist right up under where the eustachian tube comes out here. Okay, so I'm going to show you that from a different point of view. Okay, we're going to look at that from a different model. Okay, if we look at this model right through here, we can see the side of the face. If I remove the jaw, okay, let's see if I can get that with one hand. If I remove the jaw here, I can see that there's these two muscles back here. Okay, we see these two muscles. There's one here, and there's another one down here. Okay. So this guy right through here is our levator valli palatini, and this guy right through here is the tensor valli palatini right there. Okay, let me see if we can get up under there. So tensor is valley palatini is here and it's lateral, and the levator is seen from this point of view, and it's a little bit more medial. Okay, now last thing we're gonna do is take a look at this netter's plate. I'm only showing you this so we can see the difference between a fold and the muscle. So a minute ago we were looking here and we were saying that these are folds, okay, of tissue. But underneath those folds of tissue, we actually see that there's muscle. So we can see that salpingopharyngeal muscle right through here. You can see that levator valley palatini right through there. And then back here, you can actually see that tensor valley palatini as well too. If we look down here, you can see that palatoglossus muscle, okay? But we saw it as a fold because it was covered over with tissue. And then we can also see the other one as well too, the pharyngeus. But again, remember, we're seeing it in this situation, so we're actually calling it a fold because the tissue is over it.